We will be talking about efficient dairy stroke beef feeding, and we are taking the assumption that before you can even ever talk about dairy, efficient dairy feeding or efficient beef feeding, you definitely must have laid a good foundation that will enable you as a farmer to understand the importance of what you must do to be able to start achieving efficiency in feed utilization. Before laying the foundation of efficacy in feed utilization, you can hardly achieve good feed utilization. And we say we are starting from understanding the rumen because that is the foundation. And we honestly believe that the rumen is the engine of a cow. And any farmer who wants to create wealth through dairy or livestock farming must position themselves to understand how they can manipulate the rumen to give them efficacy in what they are doing. Dairy and beef cattle are fed for milk production, but it's very unfortunate that nearly anybody who thinks about keeping a cow thinks about making money through a cow's milk. But we will be emphasizing that it is not only milk that you feed your cow for. You feed your cow for milk, but you must provide the raw material that a cow requires to produce milk. You feed a cow also for fertility. And if you want to feed your cow for fertility, you must understand what are the raw materials that my cow requires so that she can be fertile and give me a calf every year. After you have achieved that, you must know that just birthing good genetics or getting your cow to deliver is not the end of the process. You need to get the calf delivered, guarantee the calf survival, and then focus on ensuring that the calf is growing. Because growth in a dairy farm is an income generating activity. If your calf today is 100 kilos and you want to sell that calf today, but the buyer delays with a month and comes to buy it when the calf is now 150 kilos, the amount of money you would ask from them will be more, simply because the animal has appreciated the difference between the weight she had and the weight now the calf has makes the difference and is translated into cash. So growth to any farmer who is interested in creating wealth through livestock farming must be considered as a product of the activity in which they are doing, so that they don't burn their fingers in the enterprise. Cows are also fed for meat production. Whenever you get a bull born on your farm, it is not a curse, the way many farmers have been taught to believe. In fact, bulls, well taken care of, can give you faster money and even more money as long as you provide that particular bull with the raw material for making meat that will translate into cash in between 10 to 12 months of the bull's life on earth. As a people who are definitely getting cow dung constantly on their farm, and we are in the business of creating wealth through dairy and beef farming, we must really look at what cow dung is to us. Because cow dung is part of the products that we produce on our farm. We must look at it as an income generating resource that we know we can turn our cow dung into manure that translates into fertilizer, particularly when we are looking at compost making. So cow dung is a resource, and we feed our animals to produce it even if we didn't want. Once we have fed our animals, they will still translate into cow dung. And that cow dung, well utilized, can turn into money that will even pay our overheads on the farms. Dairy and beef farmers engage in these activities in order to create wealth. And that must always remain the focus as to why we do everything we are doing on our farms, is because we are in the business of creating wealth, not just the business of keeping dairy cows, not just the business of breeding, but the business of creating wealth through livestock. And therefore we must run our farms as a business. To produce milk, to produce fertility, to produce growth, to produce meat or cow dung, which is actually fertilizer, a farmer outlays cash to procure feeds, to procure supplements and concentrates. We should not lose focus on that, because feeds form the largest cost in both dairy and beef farming. And as we look at this, because we wake up every day to go and spend money on it, this topic becomes very relevant. We must ensure it is efficiently utilized. We must keep and pay careful attention to how it is being utilized on our farms. But we run into losses because we overlook the aspect of effective feed utilization. These feeds that we buy, are they properly converted into end products once they are consumed by our animals? If the answer is no, then we have an assignment to make sure they turn into wealth. Feeds are the most misused resources in a dairy or beef farm. They are mainly put into animals, but they pass through the system, in most cases, undigested or unutilized or unextracted. And that is why we have heaps of cow dung that we must be deliberate. If we want to create wealth, we must be deliberate about reducing the size of that heap and increasing the money we get from milk, increasing the money we get from growth, increasing the money that we get from fertility, increasing the money that we get from meat, and start again turning the little cow dung that we realize on our farms into wealth, because we can use them on our farms, but even much more, harvest them properly and treat every kilo of cow dung like the way we treat every liter of milk, and package it for sale for purposes of earning from that end, because we spend money in the raw material that the animal consumed to give us other products. This misuse is the reason most dairy and beef farms almost always run into losses.